Hello, listeners. We are your co-hosts, Janine Bailey and Marie Quigley, for the Empower World Coaching and Leadership Podcast. Empower World brings guests who are making a difference to the world to inspire coaches and leaders who lead with mind, heart, and soul. Hello and welcome, listeners, to the next Empower World Coaching and Leadership Podcast. I am not here today with Marie, but I am with the wonderful Zsofia Juhasz. Did I say that correctly, Zsofia?
Thank you. Yes, it's not an easy name to pronounce.
Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for the invitation, Janine. Thanks so much.
An absolute pleasure. And I am delighted that Zsofia is here with us today because we met many years ago through the ICF. We were both volunteers of the ICF Australasia branch. And my role was in relation to coaching excellence. And I'm not sure if you were the president then of the Queensland, you were, yes. And I just remember, because I'd recently moved to Australia from Qatar, and of course COVID happened not long after that. And so I was looking for a community to be a part of, and of course the ICF was calling, because my business partner Marie, she had just joined the Qatar Doha branch of the ICF, which was newly established, and I really felt inspired to do something the same, and I really appreciate the community that I was welcomed into in the ICF Australasia branch. And I always recall you, Zsofia, always checking in, when you had ideas, connecting and having really great discussions to support our members, the ICF coaching members. So that has stayed with me, that desire to support me and, of course, support the members in relation to coaching excellence. So Zsofia, over to you to introduce yourself, as you know yourself much better than I. What would you like to share with our listeners today?
Well, thank you for that, and I really appreciated that that you said that you felt welcome, because I could relate to what like moving back, although you are Australia, moving back to Australia, because I'm Hungarian, and when I moved to Australia nearly 14 years ago, ICF was my community to go to, and I remember moving here, and 1 month after I went for my first meeting, and then yeah, it just evolved from there. So who I am, I'm um, I'm the eldest of three sisters. I also have three kids myself. I used to work in corporate HR, and I'm a professional coach, a mentor, a supervisor, and most recently an educator.
Fantastic, Zsofia. And I know you've been on an incredible journey, which I believe your coaching journey began in Hungary as well. Is that? Yes.
Yeah. I did, yeah, you're right. Like I came across coaching when I was working for AstraZeneca in HR business partner role, and um, Astra hired coaches for the sales leaders, and then that company also offered the training in leader as coach training. And I was pregnant, and it was, I guess, the fear of missing out if I don't sign up and don't take up that opportunity. And I guess that initial intention was like interest, curiosity. And then after I had three children altogether, and when the youngest was 6 months old, I was sort of at the crossroads, like, what shall I be doing with my career, with myself, who I am, navigating life, as life challenges. Um, and then I again looked around and sort of have had the opportunity to reflect, do some assessments, and I realized that I'm a people person, but I also love developing people, leaders. Actually, I'm a teacher originally, although I never taught. So the overarching theme is people development. And then this this second course was a 1-year course, and I really benefited and really loved. And I always say this, Janine, that like we were peer practicing and coaching each other, and one of the activities was like, what's your ideal day? And I did write down what my ideal day was, which was part-time working in an HR leadership role, a part-time coaching, being able to be there for my children. And do you know what? After I finished the coach training, 6 months later, I found that job in the shape or in the form of an HR manager role in the Walt Disney office in Budapest. So I always share this story with my clients as well, that the I guess if you set your intention and if you set yourself that focus, it will happen. And yeah, it was really an interesting journey and an experience, because it allowed me to practice the coaching skills that I've learned both as a leader, as a coach, both to hire coaches for the leaders, also be part of initiating a team coaching. And if you think of this, this was 2010, like very many years ago and quite early, I guess, in my journey, but also like team coaching and being part of a team coaching engagement. So, and now, yeah, just seeing the benefits, the ripple effect of that.
Yeah. Fantastic. And I love that story about, yes, setting your intention as well. Being real purposeful in terms of what you wanted to experience. And I resonate with that, because I remember as well when I went on my journey of becoming a professional coach, I was working for a, a consultancy at the time in Qatar. And I knew that when I started the journey of coaching, because I didn't really sort of did it based on understanding it's about supporting people, which I understood was similarly to you, wanting to support people, to develop people. So, but I didn't really understand what coaching truly was until I did the training and mentoring and so forth. Um, but when I started to get excited about really what coaching was about through my training, I was working for this consultancy, and I thought, what I really want to do is actually transition into a coach for the consulting firm and offer coaching services. And I shared that with my manager at the time, and he said, "Yes, that's possible." And I thought, "Oh, great. That'll probably take a year or two or three." But literally within months, it happened. So yes, setting your intention is so powerful. So
But I also believe that if you ask what you want, you give yourself a 50% chance of making it. Like that, because if you don't ask, the answer is always no. Whereas if you ask, it can be a yes or a no. And in that case as well, it shows that asking, being courageous, you never know what will happen. And in your case as well, it led to something who you are now. So that's very
yeah.
powerful.
Yes, I think it's a combination of setting the intention and then taking action
Yes.
to make that happen. Um, and so we met briefly before we started to record this to look at what we might focus on, Sophia. We had some ideas, and we really landed on this idea about, as we met through volunteering, this idea about volunteering in service of ourselves, the coaching community, the profession of coaching, and of course, the people that take up coaching services. So, and of course, we met back in the ICF Australasia branch. But I know that we've met on a number of occasions through volunteering type activities. I remember a supervision. It just came to me. There was some supervision volunteering that occurred as well. I think during COVID as well, and more recently, we've been um,
Yes.
collaborating. You've been part of the organizing committee, and I've said yes, I will support with coaching supervision for ICF Australasia. Um, so we really landed on this space, and really being able to create awareness to support the industry about how valuable invaluable volunteering is in service of, again, of ourselves and others. So here, what, and you shared with me earlier some key things that brought you into this space. Maybe if you share a little bit more about that with the audience, what perhaps kicked off that journey, and
Mm.
what have you been noticing as a consequence of that incredible, what I see is incredible desire, energy, and generosity that you bring, Sophia?
Mm. Thanks, Jenny. I think as I said before, like having moved here from Hungary, I guess my first desire was community. That I didn't know anybody. I wasn't intended to do you could like sign up into university course or anything. My children were young, they didn't speak English, so it was a lot around, I wasn't doing sort of, I wouldn't call it anything, but as you would say, like I didn't have the professional identity. I wasn't doing any professional work like what I did in Hungary. And I remember saying to my friend in Hungary who was volunteering for ICF that that's crazy. Why are you volunteering? There, we have such a limited time with our time, like then day, like why would you? But here here we are 2 years later when I told this to her. And initially I became it because of my HR background. And then I guess also the G20 in Brisbane, and then through that I became involved in first the G20, and then through that to Dress for Success, because they were looking for an HR volunteer or a volunteer with HR background. So I supported the applicants with resume writing, interview preparation, what policy review, whatever was needed. And then I think that sort of I built up my confidence. And then when the ICF leadership team was always very inviting and like, Sophia, come and join the leadership team. And then I said a couple of like 3 times, maybe I said no. And then the fourth time I said yes. Okay. How can I help? And then initially it was, membership, looking after members. And then that was very similar to HR, looking after the employees of the organization. And then I got involved into organizing professional development activities as you would do in a chapter and a branch. And then because looking after the members as well, we did a lot of, like when and outreach to renew, and then we did some data analysis, and then we found out that a lot of the members don't renew after 2 or 3 years. And then when in conversations with these members, it turned out that, well, I can't sustain my business. I don't know. I don't have the money to renew my credentialing. So this sparked an initiative, and 10, 11 years ago to create what is a program called Core Competency Coaching Circle, which is a really a long name, but in reality it is a group mentoring. And then we created it in a way to host 2 mentors, to have the capacity for 20 participants. And we sort of planned it to have it towards the second part of the year, once a month, 2 hours, 1 or 2 competencies, bit of practice, because we always miss the opportunity for demo coaching. And then this really allowed and supported the members to renew their credentialing at a quite affordable rate. And although initially it was very successful, there was a time when I thought that, oh, this is not going to be possible. We are in year 4 or 5, and then there are hardly anybody turns up, although it's very experienced NCC mentors who offer their time. But then again, COVID happened, and then it just gave a new revival of this initiative, which I'm really proud to say it's in 11th year. And there were 1 or 2 years when we had to actually offer this twice. And then I'm really proud because there is that community. Every year there are coaches who say that it's been really beneficial, or maybe sometimes there are coaches who come back after 3 years when they have to renew or when they want to learn. And it's a good opportunity to check in with, like where we are, how are we role modeling, how are they, what are the things they do well in their coaching, and what are the things that they could do better. And so I've done this, and then I also put my hand up to be the president for the branch, Queensland branch, which I did for 3 years. But as you know, volunteering can be very time consuming. And then just before the pandemic, I said, well, if I'm spending all this time on volunteering and ICF, I could be spending it on my business. So, and then, yeah, I ended up working quite a lot, and that allowed me to become an MCC, but also learning from those mentors in these group sessions. And in the mean, I think one thing that I guess was my last, I guess, act in my HR, with my HR hat on, that I was also volunteering for the normal global nominating committee for the professional coaches board. So was part of the selecting committee who selected the board members. So it was also very fun, very late evenings, like 10 or 11 o'clock at night once a month, and reviewing the resumes. But I really enjoyed. So I guess why I'm doing the volunteering still is for the community, to give back, to learn. I didn't do really well at uni, I guess, or in school. And I think that's a learning for me, that becoming a coach or being a coach, that I'm actually quite interested in learning and continuous learning. So if I look at my log of studies every year, I guess every year I do at least 40 hours. So it's not like 40 hours over 3 years, but um, quite a lot. I don't know. I like to overdo things, obviously, sometimes. So, but yeah. Um, and even now, as we discussed, that I volunteered to review the applications for speakers for both the Paris conference and the upcoming Washington conference. And I'm still, in a way, volunteering for the New York chapter, and we co-created a group supervision initiative as a pilot, and also with the Israeli chapter, offering a group mentoring training for the chapter members there.
Gosh, it's a lot, and that you are committing to. And again, I hear that generosity, and I think you're doing something with Australasia as well. ICF Australasia, in terms of the supervision that I've been involved in.
Yeah, you are right. Like that's actually, it's not just an ICF Australasia initiative. It's a regional initiative where 14, 16 chapters participate, and it's called Coach a Coach program, and it's hosted every year, and it's a different chapter. And it's whoever signs up can participate in a triad to receive, to give, and be an observer for coaching triads. And then the midpoint check-in event, like as part of this initiative, as a supervisor, I suggested, and of course, looking at the core competencies, that competency 2 says that coaches participate in mentoring and supervision as needed. So I sort of floated this idea that how about we offer group supervision? It's a good experiment, good experience. Not every coach knows about the benefits. So this is, I think we reached out to 50 supervisors in the region, and then ended up, I think 20 of them attended. And yes, the timing was a Friday afternoon, so that might have had a bit of an impact on who turned up, but 20 supervisors did, and over 100 participants as well. And the feedback was that actually the supervision was the most beneficial and useful and valuable part of this whole, not just this coach a coach, but apparently their whole member ICF journey so far. So I re- I was so happy with that we could offer something new and different and exciting, innovative, and for the coach, for benefiting the coaches.
Yes, yes, a fantastic initiative, Sophia, to really create greater awareness and again support the profession of this coaching industry. Uh, so yes, again, and I'm hearing so many wonderful initiatives that you've created, Sophia, that has really created an impact, that ripple effect. And you've been receiving feedback that lets you know that this has been really helpful for the coaches in the industry, particularly those that might be struggling. So being able to put them back on track. I'm just curious, as you have been sharing this, what are you perhaps being struck by, or maybe noticing as you reflect back, on so many wonderful initiatives that you have been a part of?
that to give and be generous, that is very rewarding. But potentially it's also aligned with my values. So especially being in community learning. So I think if one finds their values or what is important for them, then I think all these things sort of become very easy to do. It's not a chore. Like, and I remember when I was president for the Queensland branch and I was looking for volunteers, that I always ask, like, what are you passionate about? What is your strength? What are you really wanting? Can you commit to? Because if we are busy raising kids, starting the business, working, life, then and you are wanting to volunteer and give, I don't know, 1 or 2 or 3 hours a week, a month, whatever that is, like, if it's always going to be on the very bottom of the list, it will not work, and it's not going to be sustainable, not for you, but also for in this case, ICF, but in any case, any volunteering activity. So, and I try to give the coaches opportunities around their strengths. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I think that's the learning, that it's leveraging what we are good at, the strengths, what we are passionate about, finding that, and then it will work. It's easier.
Yes, yes. And knowing that you are doing this great work for many years now, it feels to me that it also supports your brand, your reputation, who you really are. Um, Again, an instigator, um, someone who gives back, someone who's creative, resourceful, who really does support people. Um, I'm I'm curious, what else have you noticed as a consequence of giving so much of yourself? Because I know, being a volunteer myself, that it can take up a lot of time and effort, as you've shared, particularly when you're branch president. Um, what is this giving back to you?
To inspire others, and I really love to inspire others to see, to I guess that maybe not they don't see what's possible, but then again, if we are too creative together, then yeah, like there is this saying in Australia, that busy bee, like many hands do magic, or many, like it's easier to do things together rather than um, by oneself. And using one's might, I guess, in this case, like, I guess being creative. But I think also what you said, that it's easier, like having had maybe being doing this for a long time. If I reach out, like having that network. So if I say reach out, I get a lot of yeses. Not all the time, of course, but it's easier to get a yes, or it's easier to do a next initiative because of the network, and maybe the track record helps.
Mm, yes, yes. And I trust also that it comes back to you in ways of paid work too. Um, and of course, that's potentially not why we get into volunteering, but it can be a bonus. I'm trusting, I'm hoping for you, Sophie.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be true if I would say no, it doesn't help. And we did speak about the mentoring, and I mean, this is how I got into mentoring, because somebody who got to know me through my volunteering said that she wants me to mentor her. And then, although it was a bit of a fish out of water experience initially, like but again, I ended up learning and studying and practicing, and what I could find. And yeah, like did give me opportunities that I never thought about initially,
Yeah.
just because somebody is asking.
Yes, it's the law of reciprocity comes to mind.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Mm. And again, I really appreciate the time, the effort, what goes into volunteering, because potentially we are offering webinars, we are offering demonstrations, we are offering, as per your latest volunteering initiative that you've shared, in terms of providing coaches the opportunity to experience supervision. You know, that takes time and effort to prepare all of that. So, um, and so my volunteer, I can resonate because of my own personal volunteering that I do. It does take time and effort. Um, and I have really loved every piece of work that I've done, even though sometimes I might go, oh, I don't know how I'm going to fit this in.
You somehow fit it in because again, you are passionate about. You love doing it. You get something out of it, not by giving. You also get.
Yes, yes. And I recall, particularly in COVID as well, as a result of doing volunteering and also being involved in other offerings that have been volunteered. So, for example, the Climate Coaching Alliance, um, experiencing some of their sessions and then feeling passionate about that and also volunteering for that as well. It just opened up such a huge world for me because here we were in COVID, locked down into where we live, but all of a sudden speaking to people all across so many different types of people from all across the globe just opened the world for me in so many ways. And opened up those working opportunities that you shared, Sophia. It was such a beautiful place to be in that space of connecting with incredible human beings who want to make a difference in the world. So, so what would you say to maybe a new coach or maybe a coach that's been coaching for a while that perhaps is considering volunteering or perhaps hasn't considered volunteering? What might you say to them?
I would say reach out to your local chapter leaders. Um, Reach out, like put in a post on the ICF Engage portal. I also found out that or realized that not everybody knows of these resources. The Engage part of there are 65,000 members, 60,000. All the members of ICF are there automatically. Um, Look for opportunities like the Ignite initiative that you can do, that one can do either through a chapter or individually. I think you can also volunteer through ICF for special projects, special initiatives. Um, so there's a lot of opportunities to be involved, like, and it doesn't have to be just in my case 20 hours a week to being a branch or chapter president, but there are like being an evaluator, being an award reviewer. There are so many opportunities. ICF is looking reviews, exam questions, subject matter experts. Like this, I think on ICF website one can find applications for certain things, which is more global. But if you want to start at a local level, then do at a local level. I'm sure hopefully that the chapter that coaches belong to, that they will be looking for them to be involved. And as we both know, Damien, that I remember him saying all the time, or many times, that he started as a welcomer at the Los Angeles chapter, and then he ended up being the president or the chair for 2 years. So you never know where these opportunities leads. Um, Personally, I don't have the desire to do that, but there are inspiring leaders around that. I'm sure they would have the time, or I'm happy to chat as well. Or I'm sure you as well, that if somebody would reach out where to start, that have a conversation, reach out. I guess most of the time coaches would say yes to these meetings, and you never know where it will lead.
Exactly, exactly. And I have been a volunteer with the EMCC for many years now. Um, and so I absolutely know that the EMCC is very open
Yeah.
to volunteers joining. So
Yeah.
I would suggest to anyone listening, just have a look at your um, EMCC area. I can't remember the name of what you call it now, but certainly I was the APAC region when living in Australia, and now over here in Europe. I would also, if coaches listening are interested in other types of volunteering, I mean, all of the coaching bodies, I have no doubt, would be looking for volunteers. There is the Climate Coaching Alliance, which is an incredible community of really engaged and passionate coaches that want to make a difference in relation to our climate. And for any supervisors listening, the Global Supervision Network, which I'm also a volunteer for, they are often looking for volunteers to support what they do. So another great organization that supports the profession of coaching and supervisors. And ethical maturity is such an important part of our practice. Growing our ethical maturity and enhancing that. It's so important in this industry that is, what's the word I'm looking for, Zsofia? I've lost it. In this industry where we are looking after ourselves, so to speak. There's a technical term.
I don't know what you mean, but yeah, you are right. Like we need to, and then I guess the more we do what we do, the more awareness, experience, and then as you said that we are maturing, and the ethics is a core key part of that. How to be ethical.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you, Zsofia, for sharing your experiences and your advice as well for those that who might be interested in volunteering. And I think we would both encourage coaches to really embrace the opportunity to give back to the profession, because by doing that, it also gives back to us anyway.
Yeah.
Through the connections, the community, our development, our personal development.
Yes.
It just raises and supports the awareness of coaching. Again, creates that beautiful ripple effect. Zsofia, I really thank you for your time and generosity of time and insights. Any last words before we close up?
Well, thank you for the invitation. It was a pleasure, and I really enjoyed our conversation and hope it inspires others, as at least one person, if not more, to think about, consider volunteering, giving back, and enhancing the profession themselves, and for the benefit of everybody.
Fantastic, Zsofia. And of course, for our listeners who want to get in contact with you, Zsofia, we've got the details in the links below. So please do reach out, and I trust Zsofia would love to connect. So thank you for listening. Thank you
for the invitation.
All right. All the best, and look forward to your feedback, listeners. We really appreciate any feedback that supports Zsofia, myself, and Power World. So thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening. You can find out more about us on our website www.empower-world.com and on our social media networks Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Be empowered.